Oh, hey there. I'm student producer Torian Smith, and you are now watching MATC Now.
Careers are budding this spring as students exchange their coursework for real-world experience. In this episode, we'll explore a program where students learn to care for our departed with dignity and respect. We'll also get into some trouble with a look, or rather listen at our audio program. All this and more on this episode of MATC Now. Good afternoon and welcome to this week's episode of MATC Now. I'm your host, James Charles. Thanks for joining us. A special welcome to James Sokolowski, who's in studio today as our guest co-host. James, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Now, James, I know that you are an instructor of sociology here at MATC, and many people might think of MATC as a technical school with hands-on knowledge. How does a humanities course such as sociology integrate with the hands-on knowledge students are gaining here?
Great question. So when students leave a sociology class, they have what's called a sociological imagination, which is like putting on a pair of shades that makes you a little bit cooler and more relatable to those who are around you. But seriously, we prepare students with an understanding of the complexities of the social realities of the world they live in, which ultimately will prepare them to be better communicators, both personally and professionally, which is great for the workforce.
Right. Well, James, thanks for coming on the show and explaining that for everyone. I'm sure some employers who are watching out there will really understand more about how our students enter the workforce with a totally rounded worldview. So thank you for coming.
Absolutely. Great to be here.
The death of a friend or family member is always difficult. Caring for families after a loss is not only a calling, but a rewarding occupation. Field correspondent Shannon O'Dwyer is touring our funeral services program at our MEC OnCampus. Shannon.
Hi, James. Did you know that MATC is the only college in the state to offer a funeral service program? We're here at the West Dallas campus about to learn about what it takes to be a funeral director. I can't wait, and I'll see you in a bit.
Good information, Shannon. Thank you for that, and we'll check back with you a little bit later. Now, student producer Alexis De Jesus travels into the world of an MATC alumnus who helps improve the campus community through her mentorship, helping others to achieve their diplomas. But first, while the course and the car may be virtual, student producer Chris Rayner takes us behind the wheel with a student whose passion is the heart-pumping and fist-clenching world of sim racing.
In the modern digital age, speed isn't just for the racetrack. It can be right at your fingertips. Online simulation racing is also more than a hobby. It's a social connection, technical challenge, and a thrill, all from the comfort of your home. One MATC student shows us how she connects with others and even designed her own custom car looks in the world of online racing. Buckle up for today as we take a dive into the world of digital asphalt. I'm student reporter Lasierra Flowers, and this is another Student Passion Report. Why invest in a sim racing setup? The answer is simple: immersion and control. A full setup with a wheel, pedals, shifter, and cockpit-style seating makes you feel like you are actually behind the wheel. Maddie O'Connell is a first-year student in the TV and video production program at MATC. But after spending a day making content at school, Maddie comes home and is driving wheel-to-wheel at 200 miles per hour against other drivers all across the globe.
The main draw and appeal for me is being able to hit the track without having to spend incredulous amounts of money on gear, personnel, track time, tires, that sort of thing, and not have to make a big financial investment that I may or may not be able to get back again.
What are some of the communities like online that you race with?
So some of the communities I race with are In It Esports, which is a women-led and women-run Esports team, another group I'm a part of is called Transmission Motorsports, and what we do is it's a trans-led group, and we have a lot of online races that we do for charity. I like simulators that allow me to kind of hear, feel, and kind of use all of my senses to kind of understand how the car is working.
What is your process or inspiration for making car liveries?
For me, it's like a matter of self-expression for me. As a queer person, self-expression is very important for me. So if I can kind of carry that into the game and kind of express myself where I'm kind of anonymous, but yet not anonymous, it kind of creates a personal mark for myself. And for me, my cars are always purple and they always have different colored bars on them. And so people are always like, yep, that's Axe's car. Sim racing is kind of like playing a musical instrument.
Yeah.
You kind of, when you're reading sheet music, you kind of make mistakes sometimes, and then you kind of learn landmarks within that piece of like, okay, this is when I need to do this, and this is when I need to do that.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Just keep going. You know, I gave you a slow car, but if you feel like you can go faster, I can put you in a faster car.
I'm Lasierra Flowers, and this has been another Student Passion Report.
Many people enroll in MATC to get a start on their career and accomplish their goals. Robin Hoke went through the GED program to earn her high school equivalency diploma that started her journey.
I come from a relatively challenging background in which I dropped out of school in 9th grade. A lot of difficulties and abuse in my background. And several years later, I knew I needed to do something. And when I saw that MATC was hiring, that's how I came to come back. I came back in the Workforce Solutions team.
Workforce Solutions offers leadership development, industry-specific training, and foundation skills such as communication, teamwork, and problem solving for businesses.
And so working in the technical college system, we can serve business and industry by acting as an educational consultant, helping them to identify their training needs and developing programs to meet those training needs.
Workforce Solutions also partners with MATC's academic pathways.
We work with many of our academic pathways, and we do that by partnering with them and leading them to either the academic programs or taking pieces of it and offering it in business and industry. We work with Employ Milwaukee, where they have cohorts either for a pre-apprenticeship IT program or for a pre-apprenticeship in the tool and die or the maintenance mechanic.
Robin and her team research businesses to identify what skills they're looking for.
For an example, the tool and die program and also the CNC program we work closely with, offering either credit-based programs or non-credit-based programs. Some of the credit-based, like the advanced manufacturing, we've offered math in industry and then advanced manufacturing, Green Belt, Lean Six Sigma, where people actually get the credits and then they get the credential and move on. But it is customized training, and it was a direct response to what industry is asking for today.
Her experience at MATC is something Robin will never forget, as it was her stepping stone into the successful career that she has today.
MATC was my starting point on my journey, on my learning journey. It helps me to come back here and help other individuals and to empathize with, we never know somebody's story and we don't know their background. And it allows me to be the type of employee that, yes, I can have business transactions, but I can treat individuals for who they are, meet them where they are, and support my colleagues across MATC to meet students where they are.
That sim racing looks a little bit too high octane for me. I think I'll stick with playing Tetris on my flip phone while riding the bus.
Yeah, and as faculty, you know, we always feel good seeing a story about an alumnus who continues to give back and remembering where they came from.
From the Shiva to the Wake, let's join Shannon again to hear how MATC Funeral Services students learn to care for both the departed and their living relatives. Shannon.
Thanks, James. Like I mentioned earlier, we are here at the West Allis campus in the Funeral Services program, about to learn about what it means to be a funeral director. Here with me is program coordinator Gabe Schaaf. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Good. Gabe, could you tell us what students learn in this program and what it means to be a funeral director?
Absolutely. So a funeral director is somebody who's going to care for the deceased and for the family when the time of death happens. And basically in the program, we teach all aspects of that. We teach everything that the funeral director would do with the family in terms of coordinating the services and all the paperwork and all the legal aspects. And then we also teach kind of the behind the scenes stuff where we do the preparation and care for the deceased as well.
Now, could you tell me a little bit about this room? I see that we're surrounded by a lot of caskets and equipment in here.
Yeah, so we are in the selection room right now at the classroom area of our program. We basically have a full service funeral home back here, including a chapel and a selection room and arrangement room. So the room that we're in now has a lot of different options for memorialization, including caskets and urns. And back here is where the students will do mock arrangements and learn how to market and work with families to plan services.
Now, what kind of options does someone have besides like the typical burial?
What's really interesting about the profession is it's really evolved to where the sky's the limit in terms of how you want to honor and care for the deceased. So you do have your caskets and your vaults, which is a pretty traditional funeral aspect that we're all accustomed to. Urns, cremation, that's getting to be quite a thing. There's also green burial options such as terramation, alkaline hydrolysis that people are getting into as well. And as a program, we like to explore that and make sure the students are aware of those options too, because you never know what a family's going to want.
Yeah, now aside from this, what other instruments do you use?
So again, a great aspect of this job is the fact that we do so many different jobs within the profession. So we have a lot of instruments in the prep room. Basically what you're seeing is a lot of instruments that would be used to help prepare the body and get them ready for a viewing, get them restored. This includes cosmetics, embalming machines, and kind of anything that you'd see in a surgical OR. We kind of have that same setup.
Now, as you mentioned before, students can use this space, the chapel, to do what?
So again, having that full funeral option, we want to make sure that we have that chapel as well. So the chapel is going to be used for visitations, time spent with the family together or with the deceased. We'll also do services, funeral services here as well.
Yeah, now I see that we have this beautiful tree behind us. Could you tell me the significance of this?
Yeah, so in our program, we get between 40 and 50 embalming cases a year from the Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office and various funeral homes. A lot of these cases are abandoned or unclaimed cases, and our students will embalm them, prepare them, dress, casket, cosmetize, whatever we can do to prepare them for the next step of their services. At the end of the year, we have a service of remembrance in honor of all of those cases that we would work on over the course of the year. A lot of these cases would otherwise get no recognition and no memorialization, so it's just a way to honor them and thank them for the experience that we had. The names on the trees are the names of all the deceased that have come through, so any name that you see where it's just the first name would be the name of a deceased that we cared for, and then the first name and last name are the names of students. So at the end of the year, we have a service where all the names are hung, just recognizing the learning opportunities and the gratitude that we share for those people.
Well, that sounds like a beautiful way to memorialize people and to give back to your community, along with a great learning opportunity. Now I hear that you're moving. Could you tell a little bit about that quick?
Yeah, so we've been in our current space since 2010. By November of 2026, we're actually going to be fully invested in the West Allis campus building. So we're going to be located on the first floor there. Brand new classrooms, new embalming room, new chapel, new funeral options, and we're going to have more room for more students as well. So we're really excited to get tucked in there and get going.
Well, that sounds awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today, Gabe. And I learned a lot today, and I hope you did too. Back to you in the studio, James.
Thanks, Shannon. It's great to hear that local families have that option. Troubled by that pesky math equation? Student producers Stephen Brannon and Ethan Ramirez divide and conquer to find the center that just may help you solve that problem. But first, student producers Ethan Ramsey and Beckett Williams navigate students with a final stretch for goals.
Goals, the thing that keeps people striving to be better. Everyone has them, whether they are big or small. We all work towards them. Today we will explore the goals of fellow MATC students and watch them as they take the right steps to accomplish them. Welcome to Final Stretch. First we have Isaac, a student in the barber program who tells us his biggest goal for the semester.
It's honestly just getting my barbering license. I started my journey like 2 years ago, so pretty much just getting my license.
It's awesome to see how people express their creativity in different ways.
Honestly, I wanted to do something different that I never tried before. I like art a lot, so it's kind of a type of art to me, like just cutting hair, so it's pretty much why I'm passionate about it.
Isaac will do whatever it takes to succeed, just like our second guest, Janice Quinn, who has set goals to put smiles on faces for kids and adults around the world.
I am in creating cartoons and animation / gaming. So I'm in a 3-year program to get my associate's degree so that I can succeed in doing cartoons and animation. My goals is to create my own cartoons, do my own scripts, as well as later on create a couple games to go along with the shows or whatever I choose to do.
Now, let's find out why Janice is so passionate about accomplishing this goal.
Throughout my life, animations has mostly made me smile. It makes you happy, want to do exciting things rather than being extra violent or, anything that a kid isn't supposed to see. It's something that adults and kids can relate and enjoy. You can also create them yourself, have your own imagination, run wild with you and your child, or niece or nephew if you don't have any children.
Making people happy is a great motivator for anyone. Setting goals for yourself is so beneficial to spring forward in anything and everything. Now ask yourself, what are your goals and how will you accomplish them?
For as long as math has existed, the audible groan of students taking the classes can be heard for miles. It's practically a cliche at this point. But a special place at MATC exists with the goal to give its students a whole new look at those numbers and figures.
Math Success Lab open every day from 7:30 to 4 p.m. Friday from 8 a.m. today to 2 p.m. Appointments, it's not necessary.
I think the stigma in society is more around the way in which we view, frame, and talk about math. And so there's sort of like stereotypes or things that people associate with math people. And even that idea of labeling someone a math person, you can travel to other countries and that doesn't exist there.
I remember that I was really bad with math. I was never considered as a logical person. I was mostly considered like, oh, I'm an artsy person. I don't do math. Like, I don't like that.
People might not be math person, but they are using math every day. Like, even right now, like, we are using numbers, like, to count stuff. Like, today I'm gonna eat, let's say, 3 donuts. That's counting already. Today I'm gonna take 1 shower. That's counting.
The Math Success Lab at MATC is a place where students who may be struggling with those pesky math problems can talk with a peer math success ambassador who might be able to show them how to solve the problem in a new point of view.
It makes me glad as a peer math success ambassador to see like people grow in their understanding in math.
We can do everything if we put our mind onto it. Like, that's why everything is possible.
The goal of math educators everywhere is to help students have a better understanding and even a fun experience learning math.
can excel at math if you are given the proper tools and attention.
They talked to each other, they answered questions individually, they answered them together, we discussed their results.
We have the power to change the equation.
I see math mostly as like a necessary thing to have.
All of us are logical mathematical thinkers, whether we are aware or noticing it or not, and we have that capacity to tap into that power. It's a way of explaining the world around us, it's a way of understanding the world, and it is also empowering.
It's hard to believe, but I'm happy that students kick me out and go to their real life without me, without any help, and fly. This is make me happy. They make me happy that students not addicted to somebody who needs help. Students can do something with mistake, but achieve some goal and go further.
Through the Math Success Lab, MATC's math program helps students to understand that math exists all around us in everyday life and not just in the classroom.
In an ideal future, math culture is something all of us share happily and with joy and excitement.
That's why we have the Math Success Lab, because we want to make the ambience more relaxed and hopefully assist students with this topic, because math can be really hard sometimes.
No matter which math course you take from MATC, I believe that it can help you be very be ready for the career that you choose.
Math is integral part of our life.
So the next time you're in the C building and stuck on a math problem, stop by the Math Success Lab and maybe they can help you figure it out.
Nice job. The Math Success Lab is the place to go when those problems seem to multiply on you. I wonder if those success ambassadors can help me with my taxes. Well, when it comes to making music, someone is always at the console, keeping those levels from pegging. Joining me today is Nathaniel Lynn, a student in MATC's audio production program. Nathaniel, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, when we think of audio production, what industries does that program prepare someone for?
So when we think of audio production, the industries that are connected to that could be radio, journalism, as well as sports and television.
All right.
And so are you more on the audio production or engineering side?
You have to know both. Both sides are definitely essential for troubleshooting. The audio production side is definitely important. The audio engineering side is going to be more so for your live performances and stuff like that. But the production side is just as fun.
When it came time for you to make those decisions and commit to MATC and study a course, what led you to study audio production?
So I started off as a visual technician. And, it didn't really satiate my needs. I didn't want to, do visual for my whole life. I've also been a musician since the age of 3, and so I chose to go into audio because of that.
What kind of musician are you?
I am a violinist. Yes, I also do recording, just like a recording artist, and DJing.
Right. Now, to viewers out there who are thinking, I've thought about doing that, what would be your advice for someone breaking into becoming an audio production student?
So I would first of all tell them, well, at MATC, you can get a $10,000 basically audio degree for only $10,000.
So many benefits are out there for people that want to make that step forward.
Yes.
Well, Nathaniel, thanks for coming in and explaining that for us today, and thanks for joining us on the program.
Of course, guys. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, the spring season brings new buds on the trees, and here with a delicious masterpiece is one of my old buds, Chef Aiyana. Chef, always a pleasure.
Hey, thanks. For today's recipe, I'll be preparing a fruit salad. A fruit salad is a dish of various fruits, sometimes served with a liquid like juice or a syrup. It can be eaten as a side or an appetizer, and it's the perfect dish to enjoy outside now that the weather is finally warming up. And for our ingredients, we have red or green apples, red or green grapes, tangerines or oranges, peeled, strawberries, and blueberries. One amazing thing about fruit salads is that they can be a quick snack for one or a crowd pleaser for many. We'll begin by cutting up our fruit, starting with our oranges. I'm going to dice our fruit into little squares, but feel free to cut them up however you'd like. First, you're going to want to peel your oranges. I've peeled and separated mine in advance. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut these up for you. Some fun facts about oranges. There are over 600 varieties of oranges in the world, and out of all the countries in the world, the United States are the ones that are the top consumer of oranges. That's due to our love of orange juice. Once you're finished chopping up your oranges, you're going to put them in your bowl. Next, you'll move on to your apples. Now, I've already diced our apples, and we've got them sitting in some water. If you don't want your apples to go bad, always soak them in some water while you're preparing them, and it'll keep them from browning. So we're just going to grab a handful of our diced apples and toss them in there. Fun fact about apples is that they used to be an engagement proposal in ancient Greece. Now that you've got your apples in the bowl, you can move on to your next fruit. Our blueberries are already perfectly sized, so we're just going to add them directly into the bowl. But, you know, as always, feel free to cut them up as small as you would like. When you're at home, you're the king of your castle. Next, we're going to cut up our strawberries. The first thing you're going to want to do when cutting a strawberry is to remove the hat or the leaves. Then we're going to put it onto our flat side, cut it into squares. I've already prepared some strawberries ahead of time, so I'm going to go ahead and add that to our bowl. Next, we have our grapes. For today, we're going to be using green grapes, but you could use red grapes or yellow grapes or black grapes. Red and green grapes are great for their sour taste, whereas black and yellow grapes are great for their sweetness. We're going to go ahead and cut some of these up and toss them in there. If you'd like your grapes to be cut smaller, feel free to cut them smaller. But today, we're just going to give these a quick slice in half. Now that we have our final ingredient in the bowl, we can move on to the next step, adding our syrup or a sweetener. So I'll be using honey today, but you could use any type of syrup. If you don't want to use honey, you can always swap it out for a juice or a simple syrup, anything like. Once you're done pouring in your honey, you're going to want to mix it all up. For more flavor, you can add a bit of sugar. Just make sure not to overdo it. Gonna give this a nice mix. It smells great. Thanks for tuning in for today's cooking lesson. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Chef Aiyana. Now let's see what James has for us in this week's MATC Minute.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy a warm cup of Stormer's coffee, chatting with your MATC student leaders, athletes, and Student Government Association members. Starting Thursday, April 3rd from 10 a.m. to noon at the MATC Oak Creek campus, Lower Auditorium. Let's pop some kernels for Teaser Tuesday every Tuesday at the Oak Creek campus from noon to 1 p.m. You can have lunch or enjoy fresh popcorn, engaging workshops, and more. To get a little education, the West Dallas Campus Association will scatter 100 plastic prize-filled eggs on campus starting Tuesday, April 1st at 8:30 a.m. through Friday, April 11th at 4:30 p.m. Did you know that giving blood saves lives? It's true. Join the MATC Versatile Blood Drive at the Oak Creek campus. The blood drive runs Wednesday, April 2nd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Well, it may be April Fool's Day, but this is no joke. Find out who needs the dough at Sourdough Bread Day, April 1st from 9 to 11 a.m. at the Oak Creek campus. For more information on these events and more, head on over to our website, matc.edu.
Thanks, James. With the start of spring on March 20th comes the hope of spending more time outdoors. Student producer Anthea Shelton will see if spring has sprung in this week's Hidden Gem KE.
Hi, I'm student producer Anthea Shelton, enjoying some spring showers here at Lake Park, and this is another Hidden Gem KE. Lake Park has a rich history that goes back to the 1800s, including that the park was designed by landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted, who's most famous for designing Central Park in New York City. Some of the park's features include a paved, multi-use trail, a hiking trail, a softball diamond, a golf course, tennis courts, as well as different statues and architecture to enjoy while you explore. A historical landmark within the park is the North Point Lighthouse. Originally built in 1855 and rebuilt in 1912, it's now nationally recognized as a historic site and is open to the public. The park keeps an active schedule in the summer that includes tennis, golf, as well as multiple free concerts at the amphitheater twice a week during the months of July and August. Milwaukee has had the nickname Bird City since 2012. Lake Park is among the most popular of the bird-watching spots in the area. But with 300 years of history, there's much more to learn and see at this historic park. I'm student producer Enfia Shelton, and this has been another Hidden Gem KE.
One of my favorite places. Lake Park is definitely the place to go if you want to enjoy a history lesson with the sun or the rain. My special thanks today to our guests, James and Nathaniel. Gentlemen, thanks for being on the program.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for having us.
And thanks to all of you for joining us on another edition of MATC Now. I'm your host, James Charles, and we'll see you all again next week.